And now, the LSU Football Fix with Preston Guy, presented by TigerBait, starts now.
And welcome in to your LSU Football Fix. I'm Preston Guy, staff writer at TigerBait.com. Join with me as always every Monday night at 8 o'clock is publisher at LSU Country with Sports Illustrated, Zack, Nagy. Zack, what's going on, man?
Not too much. Gonna kind of enjoy this bye week a little bit. Obviously, the work doesn't stop on this end, but gonna try to enjoy it as much as I can. Try not to do too much and get ready for next week. Got some Ole Miss action coming up, and I'm really excited to get going. The meat of the SEC plays here.
Yeah, man, it is definitely here. Schedule's going to pick up in a big way. I'll go ahead and say this. In the next 3 weeks, I think we're really going to get a good picture of how LSU season is going to go. I think, between Ole Miss and Alabama, if you can't get a win in those 2 games, I mean, you're not making the playoffs. So that's pretty cut and dry. You need to win one of these games. So let's, before we get to a rundown, let's get to a few comments here. Of course, Fire3449 with his iconic hit like. Everybody hit the like button for me, please. It certainly helps with our analytics, particularly early on in the show during the live. It'll help a lot with us. Ethan was asking if we're ready. I apologize. Zack had to reset his router. It was being a little, hold up. I will not tolerate these accusations.
I'm taking this one on the chin, DA. That's me. I was 2 minutes late. I take that one on the chin. Can't blame Preston on that one.
Yeah. So I look. Here's the deal. Post game, sometimes I am the one who runs late because me and Mike are both at Tiger Stadium. Mike moved real close to the stadium, and I still have to kind of drive across Baton Rouge to get home. So a lot of times he beats me, and he's waiting on me. For this, I have to do all the work for this show. Like I have to tweet the link. I have to put the content item on the store, on the website. I have to create the stream lobby, all that. I have to send Zack a link. I have to prep the notes. So it's like I'm not really late for this show because of that. I mean, sometimes I get a little tied down in the prep. So no, we were not getting hype. Mike was not pumping us up. We're just busy boys. Hi, boys. Preston and Zack. Hello, Ethan. Thank you. And, of course, no cojones. Kelly says no excuses. Okay, so tonight we're going to talk LSU quarterbacks. LSU offered 5 quarterbacks at the same time for 2027. So we're going to talk about those guys. We're going to talk a little LSU UCLA recap and, why it's a good thing. It looks like the team's really peaking at the right time going into the meat and potatoes of the schedule. Talk a little Ole Miss preview and why I think LSU has an advantage in the matchup. Not necessarily what I mean is like the context of the matchup. We'll dive into that. Like not saying LSU's team has some advantage, like, oh, well, no one's as fast enough to cover Caden Durham or something like. I'm talking about, Ole Miss has a really tough schedule going into that, and we'll discuss more in depth later. We're going to talk some stats for the team. Of course, Nussmeier continues to put up a very, very good season. In fact, before 2019, it would have been a historically good season for LSU, but now it's just going to looking like he might have to settle for 3rd place in a lot of single season records is the pace that he is looking up. So before we dive too quickly into that, and of course we're going to get to the Nagy notes right next, I do have to thank our title sponsor for making everything we do at TigerBait, everything we do with our post-game show possible on the LSU Football Fix, guys. And guys, as y'all know, Celebrity Theaters is Louisiana's only locally owned and operated theaters with locations in Baton Rouge and Ruston. Okay, guys, for years, Celebrity's been committed to providing a total family entertainment to its patrons. Because of this, you're guaranteed to see a clean facility, better pricing, superior customer service, state-of-the-art technology. And of course, the Baton Rouge location has an invigorating arcade featuring over 50 games. It's the largest in town. They've got a bar featuring beer, wine, and frozen drinks. Of course, they've got the oversized leather reclining seats, which are a mandate for me nowadays. And of course, they've got the Dolby Atmos 3D sound system. It's the largest screen in Baton Rouge. So with all that being said, Zach, man, look forward to see where you go with this, man, because, I mean, you could go a lot of directions. The bye week, there was no BK presser today. What's up, man?
Look, not too much. For me, kind of just giving a little bit of recap about last week. For me, the main thing was complementary football and kind of that complete game. I think that's something that Brian Kelly and his coaching staff have alluded to. Look, over the first 4 weeks of the season, is trying to play that complementary football, have offense and defense kind of click on all cylinders, and do it for all 4 quarters, not just in the second half. And for me, look, you could kind of describe this team as a second half team, whether you want to fast forward to the South Carolina game and looking elsewhere. For me, look, I was just excited to see some complementary football. And I kind of wanted to ask you, obviously, look, Caden Durham's kind of the guy who's kind of starting to assert himself as that lead back. But other than that, on offense, who's been kind of like stealing your eye here? Because you can go in a couple different directions with the receiving core, but who's kind of like taking you by surprise and really starting to kind of lead that receiving core and leading the offense as a whole?
Yeah, man, no doubt. Now, off the football field, LSU picks up a commitment today on the basketball court. They got Maisy Mosley. What can you tell me about him?
Yeah, look, that's a guy who can kind of get all over the place on the floor. 6'5", 165-pound guard who's really, if he can put on the weight, this is going to be a player who can make tremendous, tremendous jumps for this team. Look, he's really starting to kind of make a big-time jump in that 2025 class, looking at McMahon. So he's starting to make a big-time move in the 2025 class. He's the second commit. Moses is a guy who can get all over the floor, and he has some good basketball lineage. He's kind of he has relations to Magic Johnson. There's a lot of ties to that West Coast. So he's a tremendous player, a tremendous guy, and I'm excited to see what we can do with him moving forward.
It'll be interesting, talking to some guys, including Mike. A lot of guys are thinking this could be a tournament team this year for LSU. Are you kind of on that wagon yet, or is it too early? I'd be impressed.
I think I don't think it's a tournament team yet. I think you got some ways to go, but moving forward, I think there's a big time chance for McMahon to kind of keep rebuilding this roster and get in the right direction sooner rather than later.
Of course, we got some more smartassery going on in the comments section. You know why they don't have pockets on football pants? No place to put excuses. All right. Nah, Preston, I appreciate you, DA, man. I really do appreciate it. Let's see here. Esteban, what's up, man? I hadn't seen you in here in a while. Go Tigers. What's up, my guys? What's up, Esteban? Let's see here. I saw a comment I actually really want. Okay, here we go. Barry Barbier. Which of the 5 quarterbacks that LSU offered do you think will wind up at LSU? Okay, I'm going to read off the list here. We'll dive straight into that. I think that's kind of an interesting topic for a lot of fans. It's kind of, I don't know that LSU's ever offered 5 quarterbacks in one day from the same class. Let me preface this and tell you what is going into this, because it makes it interesting. Of course, most of you probably already know for 2025, you've got the number 1 quarterback in the country committed in Bryce Underwood, who notably is a young quarterback prospect. He's going to be 17, I believe, when he arrives for spring ball. I think he will be 18 by the time the season starts, but a younger quarterback prospect. For 2026, all of the guys that they've offered this year have committed elsewhere. So that's some real interesting framework going into this. So some good context there. Okay, so they've offered Elijah Haven, who has been named by 247 the number 1 recruit in the country, and basically everybody's going to have him as a top 15 prospect, whatever. You've got Colton Nussmeier, younger brother of Garrett Nussmeier, who, of course, I did a story on him, and he is looking like going to be a top 5 quarterback prospect. Peyton Houston, the Evangel quarterback, who is a shorter guy, but he's a baller. He can play. And then you've got Trae Taylor and Trent Seaborn, all 5 pulling the LSU offer all at once. Zach, do you have any thoughts on offering 5 guys at the same time?
I think you try to hit the recruiting trail as early as you can. And when you have kind of a 2027 class that's so loaded with talent, specifically in the South and in that recruiting region that LSU is looking at, you try to trim that board as quickly as possible. And we've seen offensive coordinator Joe Sloan do that already before these guys even wrap up their sophomore season of football. So going out and trying to get ahead of the curve on a guy like Elijah Haven can only do you wonders. Same thing goes for a guy like Seaborn, who's really, really starting to kind of cement himself as one of the top guys in the country. And then the same thing goes for Nussmeier. So look, it's a group of 5 players that you're not going to get all of them, but if you continue to put your chips in the right kind of bet, I'm really excited to see what they can do. And Elijah Haven's the cream of the crop guy, number 1 player in the country. And I think the entire country's buzzing for him. And he was just in Tuscaloosa this last weekend getting a game day visit at Alabama. So you have the top programs really going after him. And Joe Sloan is not a guy who is kind of going to shy away from him. He's given him an open invite to every home game this year. So they're hoping that he can make his way to Death Valley as much as possible.
And of course, Taylor Johnson with the $1 million question here. Have we offered anyone from 2026? Are we going all in on Bryce and going to get his replacement in 2027? Let me tell you right off the bat, Taylor, if what you're speculating is indeed the path they choose to go, I'm not going to be happy about that in the least bit. I sincerely believe every single recruiting class you need to be able to field a football team with. I mean, I just beat on my chest constantly about class composition and why it matters. And frankly, that's just a big deal, man. You don't want to go
to the transfer portal and kind of getting a guy from there. What if it's like not
you
at the
can do that?
school?
Sure, but I still think your high school classes need to be that. You still need to bring in a football team every class. I don't think that, because the thing is about the portal giveth and the portal taketh. So pretty much every guy that you're getting out of the portal, you lost a guy, for it already. So, you could do a little bit of that to supplement. I don't think there's an excuse though for just bringing in guys and developing them yourselves. I still think that is the key to success in college football, not just the portal. I mean, the thing is about portal, look at Florida State this year. They relied so heavily on the portal the last couple years. And, obviously it was a banger for 2 years before this. And now they just went to the portal, and turns out DJU is not that guy. And they're having a historically awful season. I don't think that you can rely on the portal to consistently build a program. Yeah, I think if you are a portal program, you're a program of inconsistency, is my opinion. Now, obviously,
sorry to cut you off, but do you think, hypothetically, if you don't get a guy in 2026 at the high school ranks, do you think they take 2 guys in 2027 potentially?
That would also be rare. Usually you don't get a marquee guy, say Elijah Haven or Colton Nussmeier, right? You don't get a top 5 quarterback who's either 5 stars or knocking on the door 5 stars. You don't do that with 2 guys, right? At least not in this era. I do remember a Russell Shepard and Chris Garrett back in the day, but Chris Garrett was a 3-star guy and Russell Shepard was 5-star all world. It was the writing on the wall with them, which didn't pan out for either of them, by the way, was Russell Shepard would be your quarterback to get in more quickly, and then Chris Garrett would be kind of a red shirt develop kind of guy. I don't think so. I know recruits are more sensitive to that than ever nowadays. They're educating themselves and, connectivity with the internet and social media. They're able to talk to people. I don't think that's what's going to happen. Here's what I've got my eye on. We've seen a lot of quarterbacks reclassify classes recently.
Oh gosh, are you going to go the direction that I think you're going to go?
I don't have any answer as to one of them is going to do it.
But if you had to guess,
all I can tell you is I talked to Colton Nussmeier, and he says he hasn't talked about it yet. He is planning on graduating a semester early, but not a whole year. But I just have to speculate. Are one of these guys going to reclassify to 26?
I mean, I think if you look at anybody that's going to do it, it's going to be Elijah Haven. I mean, just the physical kind of attributes that he has. I'm not saying in any way, shape, or form is he Bryce Underwood.
Right.
By no means am I saying that at all. So don't take that out of context. But when you look at kind of from a size comparison, he's a big sophomore. This is a guy who's big. He's above his age. He's above his age group, and he's in that top percentile. So if I was going to look at a guy in that class, it'd be Elijah Haven. I mean, I could definitely see it happening. Will it? Who knows? But if I was going to pick one of those 5, it would definitely be him.
And look, from a physical tool standpoint, I think you're spot on about that.
Yeah.
A guy I'd like to see I think Peyton Houston's 5'10" right now. I'd like to see grow a couple inches because I mean we're talking about sophomores in high school. That is totally realistic that he grows 2 or 3 more inches before he's done. So the thing is about reclassifying though, it's more of an academic situation.
Yeah.
It's more of how is this guy doing on credits? Can he double up with summer classes and that kind of stuff? We have a super chat from Devin Johnson. I'm glad LSU improved this past weekend. I can't be negative. Garrett is a great quarterback, but I fear for the extreme defensive pressure he will limit us. Need the running game for 8-4 and 7-5 is upon us. And that is spot on. First off, Devin, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you supporting our show, making what we do possible. I mean, flat out, you have to have a running game to avoid 8-4. I mean, am I wrong?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Well, when I kind of look at the defensive pressure, I mean, in the pass blocking, this offensive line's been elite. Garrett Nussmeier's had a lot of time in the pocket. He's had time to let the players get down the field and create. So pass blocking wise, kind of going to start off here with a positive is that I've been very, very impressed with what they've done. Obviously, you look at the run game, and there's been some issues here, but it's hard to not be excited about what Caden Durham's doing here. I think this offensive line is slowly kicking it into gear. I know it was an inferior opponent in South Alabama, and they handled business, and it was a boring game like it was supposed to. But the games, those are supposed to be the boring ones. Those are supposed to be the ones that dominate from start to finish. So I think you're starting to trend in the right direction in the run game. I think you're just going to have to continue to give more and more snaps to Caden Durham. He's proven that he's the guy. I see no reason why you can kind of shy away from that. I think you're starting to get in a groove in the run game, and we're going to see that in Week 7 against Ole Miss.
I think Caden Durham is your guy. I was really happy to see him get the first snap for LSU, not only the first snap, but the second snap. And, of course, he turned those into gains of 71 and 86 yards, respectively. Yeah. So, obviously, you want to get off to a fast start, put your fastest player in there. But, I mean, the other thing is it's not just Caden Durham. He wasn't just the magic cure. They ran the ball for 8 yards a carry against South Alabama. That's all running backs. That's big, man, because look, and you forgive me if you watch the post-game show and you already heard this take from me. Sometimes you're playing against yourself out there. Sometimes it's not about, well, their front seven was weak or their front seven was stout. A lot of times, like, okay, if Will Campbell has an ugly pull, or the guard takes bad footwork and doesn't get to where it's not that the front seven guy was that good or that bad. If he has a pulse, he's going to be there if you don't make your pull block, and he's going to make the play. So a very large portion of it is LSU performing? Is LSU executing? Right? And so against Nichols, we saw they weren't executing. And I don't care what you say. You can say anything you want about South Alabama's front. Is Nichols really better? Right?
No. Yeah. Exactly.
No. The variable here was LSU's offensive line, right? So I think that they are, whether it's good enough or not, I can't tell you right now, but it is going in the right direction. It is improving, and I think that's a big deal. That's a big deal, I believe. Let's see here. So I don't know if 8-4 is on the table yet. I think Mike's kind of there. He's so negative, dude. I still think 9-3 is very doable. And, you know, I mean, hey, if you beat Ole Miss, who knows?
I'll tell you what, though, about Mike. The one thing, like, yeah, sometimes he can be a little bit negative about LSU football. But he, prior to the season, you had a lot of the media kind of gassing up this team and saying that they saw X, Y, and Z from fall camp, and everybody's kind of riding this high going into the season. Like, this is a college football playoff team, like, blah, blah, blah. One thing about Mike Scarborough is that dude was saying, and I'll keep it PG, hell no. He was like, no, like, this is not a college football playoff team. He kept it real. So, sometimes you can be a little bit negative about LSU football, but I'll tell you what, he's been pretty right on the money so far about this not being a college football playoff team and hovering around that 9-3, roughly 8-4 mark.
You know, I'll say this. It seems like the dudes who survived the DiNardo era have that PTSD to them.
Mike's the OG, man. He knows a lot.
He got into this amidst Curly Hallman doing his thing.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I guess you look, and I always think about my dad when I think about guys like Mike Scarborough and how every season for the 2000s he was like, "Oh yeah, they're going 6-6, man. Oh man," and like the worst it ever got was 8-4. You know,
Aim low. You say your expectations low, and you'll be happy, I guess.
yeah. Set your expectations low, and you'll never be disappointed, right?
Exactly.
Guys, we're gonna get some ads real quick, and we'll get right back and we'll get to more of your comments. It's gonna be a comment heavy show, so dish them out, let us hear them. But let's get to some ads real quick. Let's see here. First, I do have to thank, of course, our title sponsor, guys. We've got Celebrity Theaters, guys. And guys, they've got their weekly specials on Monday. They've got $5 admissions for patrons 55 or older. Tuesday is discounted movie tickets and concessions for all. Wednesday is their half-priced arcade games for patrons all day long, and $5 movie tickets after 5 p.m. with a college idea. That's college night. And of course, Thursday, where they have discounted beer and frozen drinks for all. Let's see here. We've got a quick little spot from. Let's hear from Rejuve real quick, and we'll be right back.
At Rejuve, we specialize in medically monitored hormone and weight loss therapy, giving you the energy you need for all life's challenges. Let us be your age-defying clinic. Restore me, refuel me, rejuve me. RejuveMeMedical.com.
And of course, guys, if you're struggling with weight loss and you need hormone balance, Rejuve Medical offers personalized treatments, including semaglutide and hormone replacement therapy. Transform your life today at RejuveMe.com. And guys, I got to talk to y'all about Struby's, of course, man, where me and Zack went before the season. Awesome food. I'm really excited to get back out there again soon. Guys, all TigerBait live shows this year are proudly brought to you by Struby's Seafood and Steaks. They're located on 107 3rd Street in downtown Baton Rouge. Struby's prides itself on providing a 5-star dining experience for a reasonable price. Struby's is locally owned with ownership in the building every day, taking a level of pride in the food and service that you're not going to just see from any old corporate establishment. Struby's features a full menu of specialty meats, including USDA Prime Black Angus, 100% certified Wagyu New York strip. And for those looking for something outside of red meat, they offer items such as the dry-aged pork chop, black truffle lobster pasta, redfish, and plenty more. Book your reservation online at strubys.com. Make sure to let them know that TigerBait sent you in. All righty. Boy, I saw we got bombed with comments during that commercial break. So let's get to your comments here, and we'll discuss them. Let's see here. All right, I'm not going to say his name, but SC is traumatized by us. And of course, his next comment is SC is making their entire season about LSU, which they have been ranting and raving. I think it speaks volumes to how much that game meant to those South Carolina fans. But hey, they got a ball game ready to save their season this weekend. They're hosting Ole Miss, which is
Sellers back too. It's
Lenore Sellers is healthy again, right? I mean, I'm just saying, you're playing for everything. And Ole Miss, I mean, they beat Kentucky 30-6.
That's what I keep that's like what I keep saying is like I don't want to like shy away from how important that South Carolina win was. Like I don't want that to be one that we kind of like jump over and don't talk enough about. Going down 17-0 early in the second quarter and fighting back at a sold out South Carolina team in the SEC with College Game Day there on a team that beat the brakes off of Kentucky. I mean, I think that's an impressive win. That's a resume builder in my opinion. Obviously, you continue moving into SEC play and you're going to have some more big time games, but I don't think that SEC opener is one to kind of shy away from. That South Carolina team is good. That defensive line is good. So
you know what I was going to say? They're physical too.
Yeah, exactly. That front four is crazy physical.
So the point in bringing that up is Ole Miss cannot overlook South Carolina. Not even a little bit. They're going to be pissed off and angry, and their rebound game is going to be South Carolina, not LSU, right? You don't want to play a team that just gets upset, the next week, right? So they're going to give South Carolina is going to get Ole Miss's best shot, but also South Carolina is a team that will beat the hell out of you. I mean,
But not to interrupt, but that carries into something I want to ask you. Do you think, like, how important do you think it is that LSU host Ole Miss coming off of a bye week, and you're going to have an Ole Miss team that's kind of beat the heck up coming in?
Yeah.
How critical do you think it is that LSU has the bye and Ole Miss plays a South Carolina team that's really, really physical the week before?
I'd value it at 2 points on a spread. I mean, I'm not overlooking that at all. I'm not saying that LSU will win the game for certain, but let's say a normal home field advantage at LSU is worth 3, right? Or 3.5, some say, because of Tiger Stadium. If it's nighttime, it's definitely worth 3.5, right? I wouldn't mind giving that a 5.5 swing because of the bye and because it's at home and because of who they're playing on back-to-back road games, man. I'm just saying.
The early line came out. It's LSU's a 3.5-point underdog. The line came out, the early one.
So, okay, let's put it like this. So if LSU is plus 3.5, right?
Correct.
Okay. Then my guess is that LSU is, I'm trying to do my math here, make sure I'm rounding up here. LSU would be, what is that, 9-point dogs on a neutral site with even playing field. That's my custom situation I'm telling you about here. So I'm thinking it shaved 5.5 off, given all that advantage. That being said, outside of just the whole circumstantial situation that Ole Miss finds itself in, Ole Miss really didn't look good after that first drive. Did you get to watch the game?
I did.
It's so hard to watch these games on game days for me. I mean, obviously I'm watching the clips and highlights, but it is more difficult when you're in the press box to get to sit down and watch these games. But man, I mean, every time I was watching, I was like, man, this offense is just not moving the same.
Well, I was talking to my dad earlier about that game, and I was kind of just talking about the way that once Ole Miss got punched in the gut, it just seemed like once they got rattled, it was just kind of done.
Yeah.
I know their first couple of games of the season were gimmies. What a 76-0 win over Furman, and I think it's important to have critical games before SEC play starts. But for me, just look, the takeaway for me was that 4th and roughly 9 from inside Kentucky's own 20. They went for it, got a 63-yard gain. After that happened, the game was done. I mean, Ole Miss was rattled. So when I look at a team like Ole Miss, I look at a team that if you can kind of punch them in the gut early and kind of make a statement quick, come out firing all cylinders, I really do feel like at the end of the day, if you can do that, you're going to put yourself in a really good position to win the game. I was not impressed with the way that team handled adversity. And they have a lot of talent, and I think the game against Kentucky was a wake-up call. But to me, the way that team handled adversity was not promising for that program.
No, and I'll say this as well. Lane Kiffin's offensive system is highly predicated on identifying mismatches and taking advantage of it, right? Yeah. And that's nothing new. There's been a lot of high prolific offenses we've seen over the years that do that exact same, situation, right? That being said, what I found is a lot of times those offenses that are predicated on the nature of mismatches, when you have a defense where you can't really find a mismatch all of a sudden, it's a whole different ball game. You have to start being physical.
Is very, very good.
Who's that? The South Carolina, you saying?
That Kentucky defense.
Yeah. I mean, they're solid for sure, but they still gave up 30 to South Carolina. Yeah. So I wonder what happened there. Anyways, so it just depends on, can Ole Miss find that same mismatch against LSU? And frankly, I think that this defense kind of is what it is. By the way, shout out to the LSU defense where they've improved from they started about 80th in the country this year, and they've worked their way down to the 53rd scoring defense in the country. Look, and they're 71st in total defense, by the way, too. It's baby steps in the right direction. Baby steps, man. They subtly are improving, but I think the defense, I mean, there's just no magical solution to get a guy who can lock down one-on-one, with whatever. Maybe some of these young guys develop. In fact, I saw a good comment here from Sean Trent. What's the best secondary combination? My nephew is PJ Woodland. Well, that's one of the things I bring up. If a guy, I think PJ Woodland based on his like frame and ability to move, he might be the most talented corner, but he's young. He's young and he needs some time to muscle up and learn the system. I do think if they can get PJ Woodland caught up, he's in the rotation in your most ideal secondary. I really do think so. That being said, I mean, I don't know that they're necessarily going to have 5 capable DBs able to shut down the Ole Miss offense in, 12 days from now?
Roughly.
So let's go ahead and dive into this question since it's a pretty good one. What is the best secondary combination for LSU? We'll go position by position. Safety. Is it Jordan Gilbert? Is he really your best option right now?
Him and Deshaun Spears, in my opinion. I think those are your 2 go-to guys for now, for sure. Is Jordan your best one? I'm not sure.
That's what I'm getting at. Is he actually your best one? I mean, I know he's the one you're going with, but
yeah, I would say
better
so.
Than Sage? Yeah, I'd say he's better than Sage.
I would say so.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if you're going to that 4-2-5, or if you're going to that 4-2-5, I'd probably have Jordan back there with Deshaun.
I do think Kylan Jackson's going to be a baller one day, but I don't think he's quite ready yet. I think Spears needs a lot of reps, man. I do think Spears is a guy with the talent where if he gets the reps and if he develops and it snaps for him, man, I think Spears could be a guy who's a game changer for this defense right away. But sometimes that snap doesn't come so quickly. Sometimes it just takes reps for guys. At corner, I don't even know if you can say Ashton Stamps anymore. I feel like he's just been getting burnt so much, man. Maybe Zy Alexander. And, who would you go as that next corner? Are you going Ashton?
For me, when I'm looking at that best secondary combination, I just think of how the guys kind of fit together like a puzzle. And for me, when I look at the 2 cornerback slots, it's going to be Zy Alexander because he gives you that veteran presence. And he's been your most impactful cornerback so far this season when healthy. Emphasis on when healthy. But I really do think that your most impactful cornerbacks are going to be Ashton Stamps and Zy Alexander for now. I think PJ Woodland's a guy who deserves tremendous reps. He's continuing to really, really get that kind of.
Look, I'm at the point where I think PJ Woodland's your most talented corner. And I would really like to just see him on the field and just let him earn his licks. You know what I mean?
The sky's the limit for a guy like him. Like the more weight you put on him, look, Ashton Stamps put on like 15 to 20 pounds once he got to campus. So I think once PJ Woodland continues living in the weight room, he's going to be your go-to guy. But for now, I look at an Ashton Stamps and a Zy Alexander at the cornerback slots, Major Burns at the star, although I'd love to see JV and Toviano get on the field.
Yeah, that's what I was about to get on you about.
That's a guy that you've been wanting to see on the field tremendously, and I completely agree. So I'm going to put him at the star for now, honestly. And then at the safety slot, Jordan Gilbert, Deshaun Spears.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Toviano hasn't really gotten any like substantial reps at star. It's been like cleanup duty, right?
Yeah, he's really just been working. I think some special teams reps every now and then. I haven't seen him take any meaningful snaps, and that's a shame because he's an uber talented guy. I'd love to see him get on the field.
Yeah,
me
too.
Cover well. Him and Major Burns are kind of polar opposites in my opinion. Like when I look at a guy like Toviano, like he can cover. Major Burns cannot, but Major Burns can kind of get into the run gaps and be a force in the backfield. I'm not sure Toviano is there just yet, so they kind of cancel each other out, but. That's a good question about the secondary. I think there's a lot of combinations that you
Here's the deal about Major Burns is he's still a big body in the box, and they want that right now because, I mean, you're kind of using that star position to supplement your front 7, which is all banged up. I mean, you've got 2 guys out for the season that were major contributors. Now, I really liked the way the defense responded. And, of course, we all know 4-2-5 with that star back on the field is the base system that Blake Baker wants to run. He'd been kind of shying away from it because of the Jacoby and Guillory injury, but they ran it early and often against South Alabama. So I do think Burns is your best option for now based solely on the fact that if Toviano were keeping it close, it's not like Burns has played remarkably well. Does that make sense?
It makes sense to me. Absolutely.
He's had a play every here and there, but his coverage is sus as your generation would say, right, Zach? You know, And I think if Toviano was giving you what you need there in practice, I think we would have seen some rotation because, I mean, Corey Raymond, they haven't been afraid to play these guys,
Not at all, especially with a guy like Deshaun Spears. He's been taking some really big time snaps as a starter. And look, I completely hear what you're saying when you talk about just him really needing to put his head down and kind of hit a little bit more. I completely hear what you're saying and other people as well. I think he has the opportunity to become a super impactful safety. He fits the mold. But they haven't been scared to play any freshmen at all, whether it's Ahmad Bro, PJ Woodland,
No, right.
even Deshaun
Across
Spears.
the board.
They're not scared at all. So I'd like to see them continue to play the youngsters for sure.
Taviano should be the star or strong safety. I think if he gets on the field, it's going to be star. It's going to be star. I'm pretty sure. Man, a lot of comments looking for Taviano, which look, I can't disagree. Here's the thing about this team. It's not like anybody from last year earned their stripes. You know what I mean? Like it's not like anybody on this defense are like, "Wow, he was such a guy for us, man. We can't turn elsewhere." No. They are not afraid to put a young guy on the field.
They're not, and that's something that Brian Kelly kind of kept talking about was how you're not. There's no 5 stars coming in the kind of out of nowhere. There's no 5 stars coming in out of nowhere. There's no transfers coming in out of nowhere. This is the roster that they have, and this is the roster they're going to stick with. And if it means that you have to play youngsters, then you're going to play youngsters, and the coaching staff is certainly not scared to do that.
And of course, we got Ask Preston. This is a good transition. I had 2 great comments from H-Town back to back here, actually. So that's why I put him right back on here because it gives us a good transition from DBs to linebackers. What do you think about Witt in the middle? I'd say it's net. And boy, it looked net. All right, let me answer this the best way I know how to. If I'm playing EA college football and I have a creative player and he's my middle linebacker, you know what he looks like? Witt freaking Weeks, dude. I mean, the dude is just like the stereotypical Friday Night Lights middle linebacker, and he plays very well. I thought Greg Penn and Witt Weeks thrived in that system. So, yeah, no, I really liked moving Witt Weeks to middle linebacker. I think that was he has a real nose for the ball, and when you're in the middle, you have a chance to get to the ball more times than on a side linebacker because you can kind of, if you're an outside linebacker, yeah, you can get to the edge and blitz a little better and create outside run contain, but you're not in there every single play. You like it? I love it is my answer.
Yeah, when I look at that second level of defense, I really liked what Greg Penn and Witt Weeks brought to the table. I think Greg Penn's box score looked fantastic, leading the team with 14 tackles. I think speed is going to be what kind of hurts him in SEC play, but he's all over the place. He's in the right spots, run gaps, he's there. Greg Penn looked like an absolute dude out there. And then when you look at Witt Weeks, man, there was one play that I saw from Witt where he dropped back like 30 yards in coverage. And we asked him about that after the game. And it was just kind of like, are you accustomed to that? Like, have you done that before? And he was just talking about how he's a pure athlete. Like, he played running back in high school, so he can just be all over the field at once. I think Witt was in his natural position there. I think this is a guy who really, really is going to hit his stride in SEC play because he's going to get more reps under his belt. I think Harold Perkins is obviously a defensive superstar, but Witt Weeks is also kind of a guy who's on that fringe spot of becoming an uber talented guy in the SEC. And I think he's scratching the surface. So I'm excited to see what that 1-2 punch can do. And then obviously you activate Xavier Adkins, you kind of burn that red shirt. So I'm excited to see what the second group on defense can do as well with West Weeks and Xavier Adkins. But for that first team, I think Witt and Greg Penn look like a solid group at that second level.
Yeah, I mean, you've got good linebackers there. So I love the adjustments that they've made so far. I would love for a lot of these DBs to kind of get replaced, I guess. But the fact is that they're probably the best you got is the ones you're rolling out there with. Maybe some exceptions. Remember, PJ Woodland's the guy I keep on looking to. Like, can you get him up to speed? I think the biggest thing with PJ Woodland is he is just too thin. He needs to gain weight, and that's not something reps is necessarily going to help with. Oops, not what I meant to put up, but I will put that up next time. Preston, I heard Coach Pete, he's talking about Coach Pete Jenkins, say earlier he talked to defensive tackle Jacoby and Guillory to come back next year and use his injury year for 2025. All right, that's actually a really good discussion point. I think if you're Jacoby and Guillory, you haven't put enough film to go to the NFL, man.
I agree with you. I think he's this is a guy who's going to have his breakout year in 2024. And I think it's going to be hard for a team to want to draft a defensive tackle coming off an Achilles injury in the first place, let alone the lack of film from him. So I think it's a no-brainer to come back, no doubt.
I don't think he gets drafted if he goes out this year. So I don't know why he wouldn't try to use his medical year and come back. Hey, are we done with COVID years next year? Is this finally the year?
Yes. That was a conversation I had with Coach Matt McMahon last year, and he was talking about just how excited he was for this kind of COVID extra year of eligibility to be in the rearview mirror. So yeah, we're there. We are there.
We should be there. Maybe that one tight end from Miami will find another one. A guy who's been in college football for 9 seasons. 9 since 2016, man. Anyways, I can't stand the COVID years because you never really know how much eligibility someone truly has left. It used to be you could just look at their classification. Oh, well, he's a true sophomore. So he's got, after this season, 2 more to play, but he could redshirt or a medical redshirt, which is more rare. And now it's been with the COVID year, and then you get, you can redshirt if you play 4 games. It's just it's a lot to keep up with. And I feel bad for the fans who have to keep up with this kind of stuff, who aren't paid like you and I to make sure we're keeping up with it. Like they just want to keep up with it. You should be able to look at a glance and know these kind of answers. Like you should be able to look at the 2 letters next to his name and know exactly how much time he's left. Rough question, because I do not like attacking players directly. Has Caleb Jackson been the biggest disappointment this year? I like Caleb as he's a good guy, and he put on a lot of weight this year.
Just answer the question. Just take it.
Just say it. Just he's probably got 6 NIL deals. He can take some criticism. I think he got a little too heavy, man. And here's the problem with him being heavy. I think his top end speed is still there. I think his acceleration has been really what suffered, but it almost looks like his core strength is not what it needs to be a big bruising back. If you're a big bruising back, it's not about just running hard. In fact, it's about keeping your balance, right? And it seems to me like he's not able to stay up through contact, at least until he gets to top speed, right? And it's just not really working, man. He just sits down as soon as he gets contact, and that's just been very disappointing. I thought he was going to be your best back, and we would be frustrated that Josh Williams is taking too many snaps from Caleb Jackson. Now Josh Williams is taking those snaps, and we're like, thank God, because we're not getting what we want out of Caleb Jackson.
I'm gonna take it in like a different way. Like I think everybody's going to continue talking about the weight that he put on, and rightfully so. I think he's just a little bit too heavy at 235. Obviously, Caleb came out of high school as just this number 1 running back in the state, crazy high-end recruit. And I think he has all the physical capabilities to do that. For me, it's his vision. I haven't necessarily seen him kind of read correctly when he's on the field. For me, it's the vision that has been kind of a glaring takeaway. I think he has all the physical attributes to become just a key contributor in the SEC, whether it's here or anywhere else. I know everybody's going to speculate and say whatever they want, but this is an SEC running back. This is a player who can shine here or there. I think he just needs to continue to work on the little things in his game, and once he gets polished, the sky's the limit. I mean, Caleb Jackson's a phenomenal
He's
player.
A freak. I agree. I think that it's an off-season fix for him. I don't think it's an in-season fix.
Agreed.
I think he's going to have to get with Alvin Kamara and do some of these ridiculous balance training.
Those are so crazy.
Aren't they crazy, dude? But, I mean, you can't tell me they don't work. Have you seen Alvin Kamara? My God. But, that's the thing. That's exactly what Alvin Kamara does so incredibly well. That is what Caleb Jackson is struggling with. Very hardcore. All right. I've got an assault. And this is from your area, so I'm going to let you handle this one, and I'm going to take a back seat. On recruiting, why does it feel like the prestigious Catholic League does not provide many recruits? Were you at a Catholic League high school?
I was at Holy Cross.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a good question. I think the Catholic League is the group that everybody wants to talk about, whether it's Holy Cross, Jesuit, Curtis, Carr now is in the Catholic League, I believe. So you have your guys. it's a group that's just changing. Like the LHSA is just changing so much. You're seeing guys go all over. Look, I think it's something definitely that's unique over the last 5 to 6 years. But there's going to be some talent coming soon as long as they continue to get the LHSAA intact and stop flip-flopping schools elsewhere. I think that'll be kind of a thing where you see more talent stick and then go to LSU and other big-time programs. I kind of bounced around that question a little bit.
I thought you were going to go after it. You were like, no, man, Leonard Fournette.
No, because he's right. I mean, when you look at all the schools, or when you look at all the players that are coming out of the Catholic League, there's not that many big-time guys going to LSU right now. I think Corbello, the kicker for LSU, went to Jesuit. But other than that, I mean, there's not that many high-end guys that are going to LSU right now. So I can't argue that.
Pierce Lee with a funny joke here. I think TJ Finley and Max Johnson both have a year after this. Max tore, was it his Achilles or ACL game one? Poor Max. Feel bad for him, but that's wild to me that TJ Finley would have another year. That blows my mind. He's Holy Cross man. Am I saying something here? Is something going over my head? Was I supposed to just memorize your high school?
No, that's just a thing.
Do you know where I went to high school?
Holy Cross, you're a Holy Cross man. That's how they describe it.
Do you know where I went to high school, Zach?
Doesn't your high school not exist anymore?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Right. It's not something I would memorize. I know you've said it to me before, but that's not something I know you went to a private school in New Orleans, and I'm like, I can't remember what high school.
There's just so many, it's hard to know which one, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't memorize that about people. Mm-hmm. I do know Mike went to Terra, but it's not something I don't know where Buddy Sanji went to high school. That's not something I keep up with, man. Let's get some real quick ads and then we'll get back. I'm really enjoying, we got some great comments coming in tonight. So, I mean, look, it's actually touching on a lot of what I have scripted out here to talk about, but I'm actually really enjoying just getting y'all's comments and getting to it kind of organically rather than forcing a script on y'all. So if y'all want to keep that up, keep on rocking and rolling. I really appreciate it, guys. But first, before we get to that, guys, I got to take some time to talk to y'all about my friends at Alumni Hall. Guys, it's really the best place to get all your officially licensed LSU gear. They're your ultimate shopping destination for LSU fans. They've got it all. The all-new Nike gear, Champion, Johnny O, Onward Reserve, Peter Millar, Southern Tide, and more. They've got the nice polos you've been looking for, the hats, the Yetis. It's all there, guys. Shop their store in Perkins Row or shop anytime online at alumnihall.com. And guys, don't forget to use the promo code TigerBait, all one word, TigerBait, and you're going to get 10% off your purchase. Right now, guys, the hot items they've got all the LSU football jerseys you're looking for. You've got your tailgate gear. Of course, they've got the Nike Pegasus shoes. So make sure to go in and check them out or shop online. Make sure to use your promo code TigerBait. Not only do you save 10%, but what's probably a huge deal for us is letting our sponsors know that they're getting support from TigerBait. That's always a big deal. Let's hear from Genesis of Lafayette. Got a quick little video for them, and we'll be right back.
Got a brand new attitude, like bing bang boom on a pink balloon, like I just do what I wanna do, like ooh, brand new.
And of course, guys, there's a reason they sell more Genesis than any other dealer in Louisiana. For the very best buyer experience of a new luxury SUV or sedan, call them toll free to set up your test drive, 877-856-2961, and tell them TigerBait sent you in. Let's see here. And guys, one thing we really try to do with all of our partners here at TigerBait, we try to partner with locally owned businesses. We've experienced that we've experienced firsthand, and we know we can endorse to provide an outstanding experience for our listeners. I know I went there last week with my son, and we had a great time. I had the Catfish Orleans. It was on a bed of fries. Fantastic. Carrot cake was out of this world good. Guys, Located on 100 Lafayette Street in downtown Baton Rouge, Capital City Grill is your ideal lunch and dinner stop for a casual dining experience. Capital City Grill features a variety of sandwiches, burgers, seafood, pasta, steaks, with everything priced at $30 or below. For an affordable experience, don't forget to celebrate a Tigers win at their Sunday morning brunch, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Book your reservation online at capitalcitygrill.net and make sure to let them know TigerBait sent you in. And of course, guys, we'll wrap up our final sponsorship part of the night. I appreciate y'all for listening to this. Guys, Celebrity Theaters is our title sponsor this year, making everything we do possible. Guys, they've got 8 to 10 auditoriums, depending on the location. If you're looking to host a private birthday or event screening, whatever you're looking to do, whether it's a birthday package for children of all ages or an affordable venue for your next school event, fundraiser, work event, they've got you covered. Give them an email at events@celebritytheaters.com or visit celebritytheaters.com/events to get your experience started. Where did Guy go? I'm right here, bro. Let's see here. No.
He said that a couple minutes ago, and I had to like almost turn off my mic because I was laughing.
No. Did you turn off your camera when he? Like, is that?
I did, but I was milliseconds away from doing it.
Hey, look, I didn't name my high school, did I? Because I think Carl Dunn just bombed this. Christian Life Academy. Michael Clayton also went there. More importantly, Preston Guy went there. So yes, you got it right, Carl Dunn. Michael Clayton went there. I also played with Dylan Farrell, who played in the NFL. Yeah, we shut down maybe 2016, something like that. It's very sad. I do miss having an alma mater that I could root for.
Who else went there? Did Langston Galloway? Who went there?
Langston Galloway, yeah. I graduated with him. He was like, I went to school with him for 6 years. He's like one of my good buddies. Yeah.
I thought I was thinking to myself, like, I know someone who went there. I just couldn't remember.
Yeah, man. Lang was good at football too. In junior high, he was a really good wide receiver for us, but it became abundantly clear that his future was in the NBA as well. So yeah, two guys I went to school with that played in the NBA and NFL. Not bad for, it's actually statistically, if you look at the number of professional athletes that came out of Christian Life for a tiny 1A school like that, it's an anomaly, man. It really is kind of wild. Okay. So here's an interesting nugget. I was looking at the top quarterbacks for this year. We saw the 5 LSU offered. You know, one name that really stood out to me that LSU didn't offer? Gunnar. You already knew who I was going, right? Gunnar Rivers.
Oh, I had a different name actually, but
all right. Well, we'll hear yours next. But anyway, Gunnar Rivers, son of, and this is one of those feel old, son of Stephen Rivers. I'm sorry, Philip Rivers. Stephen Rivers is, of course, the quarterback who played for LSU. I interned with Stephen for about 2 weeks at LSU. And, you know, I just thought that's interesting because there is a family tie-in. Stephen Rivers did play for LSU for, I think, 3 seasons before transferring out. And, you know, just interesting to see, you know, guys we watch play. Feels like not that long ago,
right.
Playing in the NFL. Now he's got a son out there getting offers. Who's the guy you had on your name? I'm interested.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know you were gonna kind of go down that path. Just one of the guys who didn't get an offer that I thought was going to was Malachi Ziegler from up north in Louisiana. I thought that was going to be a guy, top 5 quarterback in the country. So when I'm looking at 5 guys who got offered so far, I thought Ziegler would have been a guy who would have gotten an offer so far, but ultimately
probably more realistic to get the offer than Gunnar was.
Yeah, so I was thinking like, I thought you were going to talk about Ziegler, but
just an interesting name and an LSU tie-in that I stumbled in. I don't actually know if there's any relationship there with LSU or not, but man, what a litany of guys that LSU's got to end with, man. I mean, it really does seem like LSU's recruiting with quarterbacks. They've had a lot more guys with good, favorable situations to recruit than they did 10 years ago, maybe. Like, you know, I remember like Brandon Harris was such a big deal because he was a highly rated quarterback in Louisiana, and it was so rare. And it seems like we're getting a lot more and more of them. So yeah. And look, here's Pierce Lee actually with the Malachi Ziegler comment. No, he didn't get it. Not as far as I know. He didn't get the offer. Trae guy. What's up, cousin Trae? Caden is the dude. Well, first off, I don't know about the next two, but I do know Caden is that guy, man. Preston is the guy and Zack is the man. Maybe that's why we had that Holy Cross man comment earlier. I don't know. How exotic will the defense get on Lane Kiffin? My presumption is about as exotic as they can get, right? I mean, they're going to be dialing up some aggression because they're not going to beat Ole Miss because they called a cover 3 with zone coverages and they just locked down these receivers. You know what I mean?
No doubt. I think you're going to look at a situation where defensive coordinator Blake Baker just goes so deep in his bag that we're going to be almost blown away up in the press box kind of watching it. I think you're going to see a defense that's going to be different than we've seen so far. I think the 4-2-5 is going to be the key look here, but I also wouldn't be surprised if you try to roll out a 4-3 as well. I think you're going to see so many different things happen on different drives. So I'm excited, but at the same time, you can't keep flip-flopping all these different rotations and put in two safeties one drive, two safeties another. Right. So you have to know your personnel as well in order to dial up a good scheme. So I think these next 2 weeks are going to be a really good opportunity for the guy or the coaching staff rather to kind of figure out who their go-to guys are going to be once Ole Miss gets to town in 2 weeks or 12 days.
Right, man. Yeah, I mean, I think they are going to go with that 4-2-5, number one, because, I mean, Ole Miss is going to have a vertical passing attack. Jackson Dart. By the way, Nussmeier's number 2 in the SEC in passing yards. Jackson Dart's number 1. So we're going to see a lot of passing in this football game. And Jackson Dart's been incredible, been very good. But
I don't even want to sound like a homer and like just say that I think Garrett Nussmeier is the best quarterback in the SEC. But I just think the numbers that Garrett Nussmeier has put up against the competition that he's played so far is so much more impressive than what Jackson Dart's done. I mean, 76-0 to Furman, and then looking at the other teams that they've played, it's just not as impressive to me. I think Garrett Nussmeier is doing a little bit more. Obviously, we're going to see in 2 weeks what happens there. But I think Dart's numbers are just a little bit inflated. But at the end of the day, he's a fantastic quarterback who's going to get the job done as a vertical passer, and he has the weapons to utilize. So it's going to be a big-time wake-up call come 2 weeks in Death Valley. But obviously, he has kind of the personnel to shine. So he's a fantastic quarterback.
All right.
The numbers
is he better than Jalen Milroe?
Is Jackson Dart better than Jalen Milroe?
No, Nussmeier. You're saying Nussmeier was the best quarterback?
Oh, no.
You're saying Dart.
I'm talking about from a statistical standpoint.
Right, I get it. I'm just going to say Jalen Milroe was fantastic at just throwing the ball up to Ryan Williams and letting Ryan Williams be a freak of nature, man.
That guy is unbelievable, man.
Unreal, man. I mean, you talk about balance. That guy doesn't want to go down. So
he's doing those Camaro drills in the offseason like you were talking about.
I don't remember a true freshman wide receiver that polished and that good. Now, look, man, above the shoulders, he probably has some maturation to do. Of course, tell me if you've heard this before. Did you know that Ryan Hollywood Williams is 17 years old? Wow.
I'm so tired of hearing it, but at the same time, look, push the narrative as much as you can. He's going to be 17 the entire season too. So it's not like he turns 18 till February. So it's going to be the narrative that's pushed for the rest of the season. And rightfully so. This true freshman wide receiver class is crazy. You have Ryan Williams, Jeremiah. I mean, look, you're loaded.
Who was the LSU shortstop, Kim Mulkey's son? I'm trying to remember. Kramer Robinson. Did you know that Craven Robertson's mom is Kim Mulkey?
Yeah.
And I get it. Yes, we hardcore fans will watch the games, every moment, not miss anything. But most of the people watching are casuals who actually haven't heard that before. So it is worth repeating, but it does get cliche after a while. But anyways, yeah, but kid's a little bit of did you see his eye paint kill everyone or kill everybody?
I did see that. I didn't know that was actually on his face though. I thought you were going to talk about his profile. His
profile picture on Instagram. Yeah. After beating the Georgia Bulldogs, he changed his profile picture to Michael Vick holding a dog, which I don't know, man. Worth noting.
Speaks for itself, huh?
He actually wasn't born when Michael Vick got arrested. I'm pretty sure. I think Michael Vick got arrested in like 2007. before the football season, if I recall right. So that means the kid literally wasn't alive. So maybe he doesn't understand the fallout of that. But I was like, that's poor taste, Ryan. Well, we want to love you because you're awesome, but I don't know about that.
I saw that and I was just like, what I was probably saying and doing at 17, like he's just being a kid. Like I was just like, it is what it is. The spotlight that he has is crazy. That was.
I mean,
it was fantastic. It was so funny.
Pierce Lee brings up a good point.
Yeah, it was.
He's an elite. Oh no, dude, trust me. Like, if this is a random guy on the internet, I'm sitting there thinking, "Oh, that's hilarious." But
The platform that you have.
I guess that's part of being a 17-year-old kid. Not quite. Are you drinking out of a ULL cup?
No.
What's the cup say? What's the cup
it's
say?
just a red cup. It's just a red cup.
It's not just a red cup.
It's just a red cup.
ULL did get a big win this weekend.
They did. $800K to go to Wake Forest and get a win.
I mean, that's huge, man. And to overcome 4 targeting penalties, good for them, man.
Yeah, that was wild. That was wild. I didn't get to catch too much of the game, but obviously I got a little bit of the rundown of it, and oh my goodness, a lot of adversity in that one.
Yeah. And look, Conte Money has one more attack at me. He has to. I love how everybody capitalizes guy.
I thought that was funny too.
For the play on words. It's such a funny thing. People, poor Zack, he has to co-host with a guy who doesn't understand to have Saturday school with Desormo. I mean, that's Desormo.
That's correct.
I don't know why it's spelled with the capital O. Is that some or Arvites? What
Arvites.
Can you translate this for me, please?
Desormo is like our principal at the time, and Arvites a teacher in high school.
So Conte Money probably knows you.
I wish he'd say his name so that I know.
Drop a name, Conte Money, even if it's after the show, because we are wrapping up here in just a second. But drop a name. Let's see if you actually went to school. What's it called when you dox yourself, Conte? I'm calling you out because I think you went to class with Zack Nagy. Anyways, guys, I appreciate everybody for watching. We will be back Monday next week. Mike and Buddy will be here Wednesday night. No post-game show because there will not be a game to post. So y'all make sure to just hit like on this video. It helps with our analytics, helps with everything. Look, we got him. Let's see. I did cheerleading. Do they have male cheerleaders at Holy Cross? Guarantee Zack was in the stands when I said it. So they have male cheerleaders at Holy Cross.
Yep.
How about that, man? They at my school, they would not let us do it because they said teenage boys are not mature enough to touch girls' butts. That's what they told us over and over again. And I wanted to do it. I was like all for it, man. I was like, yeah, I'll do that. And then they were like, well, you're on the football team anyways, Preston. So what are you gonna do? I was like, do we not do this for basketball? I mean, what's going on here?
It's an all guys school, so you gotta take the opportunities that you can. You know what I mean?
Wait. That just clicked. Did y'all have any female cheerleaders?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So y'all brought them in from another school. Is it like a Catholic St. Joe's situation?
No, it was like you just try. Like there were a bunch of different schools, like Dominican, Mount Carmel, Cabrini, etc. Tryouts.
I was gonna say, all right. Here's the deal. Guy cheerleaders with girl cheerleaders. That's one thing. Okay. Bro, if you line up there with straight up dude cheerleaders, I'm gonna look at you kind of funny. I'm gonna look at you real funny.
None of that.
Anyways, all right, guys. Thank y'all for watching. Y'all have a great night. Please hit like and subscribe to the channel. Help with our analytics, all that good stuff. Channel continues to grow, and it always is remarkable to me how many people are still watching the show consistently without hitting that subscribe button to get those little notifications. Hey, they're going live. Be very helpful if y'all did do that. Make sure to go give us a follow on Twitter to keep up with our content throughout the week at ZNagy20 for Zack. You can keep up with all of his work on LSU Country. What's the website for you? Is it LSUcountry.com?
Yes, we're LSU Tigers on Sports Illustrated right now. We're LSU Tigers on SI. You name it, we got it. LSU football, recruiting, basketball, baseball, women's basketball, we got it. Anything in the purple and gold, and we're covering it. So make sure to check us out. On Twitter, we got LSU Tigers SI, and then punch it in on Google, LSU Sports Illustrated. You can find anything you need there for us.
There you go. And look, you can check me out on Twitter at pguy77. You go to tigerbait.com, as y'all all know, and you can find my story on Colton Nussmeier, which I just put up yesterday, in fact. So it's a good story with him. He's a good kid, just like Garrett, good with interviews and media. Guys, appreciate y'all for watching. Y'all have an excellent evening.